Welcome back to Dynamics. Okay, the next movie review. Let's talk about Gladiator II. Just saw Gladiator II, really enjoyed it. My girlfriend saw it with me. She also enjoyed it, but kept getting frustrated by a certain aspect of it, which I will go into. All right, let's take a look here. This movie was obviously directed by Ridley Scott. This is one of his big masterpieces. Was the original Gladiator, so he's coming back to try to do it again. And really, that is what he did. He did it again. The same basic movie. Some slight differences, of course. Characters and whatnot, but the general idea very similar. All right, writers: David Scarpa, Peter Craig, David Franzoni. Stars: Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal. All right, so let's talk about the stars a bit here. Paul Mescal is the main star. He's Lucius. What do you know Paul from? He is from All of Us Strangers. Says After Sun and Foe. I'm not familiar with those two. Let's see. Carman, God's Creatures, The Lost Daughter, Normal People. Interesting. He hasn't been in a lot of stuff. I'm trying to remember what I know him from, but I'm not sure because I didn't actually see All of Us Strangers. I'm familiar with it, but I didn't actually see it. Anyways, okay, so Paul Mescal. He is the main star of this movie, kind of like an up-and-coming guy, but, hasn't done a whole lot. Denzel Washington is obviously Denzel Washington. He's amazing. He has been for decades, and I see him continuing to do good things for the next, decade or so. All right, let's see what does this say he's known for. That's interesting. Fences, okay. Training Day, of course. The Book of Eli, of course. Antoine Fisher. All right, okay. Let's see. Most recently, he was in Equalizer 3. He did The Tragedy of Macbeth. He's done Macbeth, I think, a couple times now. He was in The Little Things. Was he? What was he? Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, that's it was on Netflix or one of the streaming services, and it's got Jared Leto, and okay, yeah. That's not what I was thinking of. He was in Equalizer 2, Roman J. Israel, Fences, The Magnificent Seven. He was good in that. That was fun. The original Equalizer, Two Guns, Flight. Flight was a great movie. Safe House, Unstoppable, The Book of Eli. Bunch of stuff, right? Okay, so that's Denzel Washington. And then the guy who is like in everything these days, and I do really enjoy him. I think he's really good. But he's in just pretty much everything these days. Pedro Pascal. What do you know him from? Tons of stuff. But let's see what it says. The Last of Us is, he's really well known for that right now. The Mandalorian, of course. The Game of Thrones, of course. Kingsman, The Golden Circle. Yeah, he was in that. That's right. I do remember that. Okay. He's like a cowboy or something. Interesting. I guess he was a voice in Wild Robot. He was in the movie The Uninvited, Driveway Dolls, Freaky Tales, Strange Way of Life, Housebroken. Interesting. All right. Okay. Not as many stuff that I recognize as I thought, but that's okay. But yeah, he was in I think where a lot of people started recognizing him as Game of Thrones. And it's funny because he wasn't really in that many episodes, but he definitely made an impression on people. Oberyn Martell. All right, so who else is in this movie? We have Connie Nielsen making a return as Lucilla? How's that pronounced? Lucilla? Yeah. Anyway, she's one of the few actors that carried over from the first movie. She plays Lucius's mother and the wife of Pedro Pascal's character. Pedro Pascal plays. Oh yeah, so Denzel Washington plays Macrinus, and Pedro Pascal plays General Acacius, and Connie Nielsen plays Lucilla, who is the wife of General Acacius and the mother of Lucius. Um, what else do you maybe know her from other than the first Gladiator? Wonder Woman. She was Hippolyta in Wonder Woman. She was in 1 Hour Photo. There we go. Speaking of, I was trying to remember Robin Williams' name in my last movie review. I can't believe I couldn't remember it. But Robin Williams was an amazing. I mean, he's passed away now, unfortunately. But he would do these amazing, like, dark roles. So he was amazing as a comedian, obviously, but he would go off and he would do these roles where he was like the bad guy and evil, and and just would completely transform from who he was in the comedic roles. Whereas Hugh Grant was Hugh Grant was Hugh Grant in Heretic. It just was a creepier version of Hugh Grant. So two different ways to go about it. That's what I was trying to talk about in the last movie review. Anyways, I saw 1 Hour Photo here, and that's one of the creepy movies Robin Williams did. And apparently, Connie Nielsen was in 1 Hour Photo with him. Okay, she was also in the movie Basic. More recently, she was in a movie called Role Play, Origin, Ocean Deep. Nobody? She was in Nobody, that's right. Okay. Moving on. We also have Joseph Quinn is starting to show up in more things, and that's great. He was in Stranger Things, and he was great in Stranger Things, so now he's starting to get more roles. We saw him, well, he was in Overlord, but that was, I think, more before Stranger Things. A Quiet Place Day One, he was solid in that. Entertaining, I enjoyed him. He is going to be in Fantastic Four. What else has he been known for? Let's see. He was in a movie called Horde, Small Axe. Yeah, a bunch of TV series and miniseries that don't sound too familiar. He was in a movie called Makeup. But good, yeah, definitely. We're gonna see him in more stuff. He's great, and he was solid in this. Almost unrecognizable, but not really. You could tell it was him, but he was one of the twin emperors, and he had a lot of like white face makeup on, because that's kind of what the emperors did, was they had a lot of makeup on. So it wasn't like movie makeup. It was in the role as the emperor wearing makeup. The other twin, so he played Emperor Geta, and then Fred Heschinger played Emperor Caracalla. So let's see what he's been in, because I did not recognize him, but he was super interesting. Really good in the role. He was in a movie called Thelma, News of the New World. I still haven't watched that. I do need to see that. News of the World. No, wait, I did see News of the World. Interesting. I don't know what he played in that. Maybe he was... I don't know. I don't remember him from it. He was in The Pale Blue Eye. That's something I still need to watch. The Woman in the Window, Nickel Boys, Pam and Tommy. Oh, he was in the Fear Street stuff. Yeah, he played Simon in the Fear Street stuff. Okay. All right. Moving on. We have Leo Raz as Vigo. We have Derek Jacobi as Garacus. We have Peter Mensa as Jugurtha, and he was great in it. Hadn't seen him in a minute. What else do we know Peter from? Since he's very recognizable. Jason X, 300. That's probably the biggest one you're going to recognize him from, was 300. He was also in Avatar, but I think he was under a lot of CG. Let's see, the Devil Conspiracy. That's right, he was Archangel Michael in the Devil Conspiracy. Snake Eyes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sleepy Hollow. Great character actor. Really, really was happy to see him again in this. Then we have Matt Lucas as Master of Ceremonies. Alexander Kareem as Ravi was great, by the way. Look for him. What else? Do we know him from anything else other than he's probably been in Dying of the Light, The Dog. Oh, he was in The Dog. I haven't seen that yet, but I do want to see that. He was in Tyrant and Zero Dark 30. All right. Yuval Gonin was Lucius's wife, Arishat. And were any of these other, who else, any other carryovers? Rory McCann was in this. That is where oh, so good. I was like, oh, I recognize this guy. Where do I recognize him from? General Tegula is Rory McCann from Game of Thrones. He was also in Hot Fuzz, a very infamous character in Hot Fuzz. I guess he was in Jumanji: The Next Level too. That's right, Jurgen the Brutal, and then a movie called Slow West. Very good, very good. That's where I recognized him from. Okay, and as far as actors that were in the previous movie, I just recognized like an older actor, and I'm trying to see where he is in this. See if I can find him. Okay. I should have done this before. You know what? I'm not going to do this right now. If I think of it, maybe I'll talk about it in another movie review. But there's like a couple of the senators that I believe were carryover actors from the first movie. Okay, so in general, cast was solid. The movie was shot, beautifully. The story was very similar to the first one, so you're not getting a lot of originality in between the two movies. Basically, Lucius. So Lucius is Lucilla's son, and you see him in the first Gladiator movie. It's obviously a different actor, who they could have got for this. By the way, he's still an actor. He's just I don't know. I guess he wasn't right for the role. He wasn't right to play himself. So yeah, they could have got the original actor for this, but they went with someone new. So he was the boy in the first movie. He was her son in the first movie, and in the first movie, maybe there's slight hints at the possibility of him being Maximus's son. If they had an affair, and that the because she loved her husband and he loved his wife, so I guess they could have had a thing, and it could have been. Anyways, this movie, that's the thing that bothered my girlfriend the most, is like they basically say, nope, Lucius is definitely Maximus's son. That was not made clear in the first movie, if it was even hinted at. So it was really weird that they were like, nope, forget that other guy that she loved and that died before the movie. Yeah, he doesn't count. He is definitely not the dad. Very weird. Anyways, so they're saying Lucius is Maximus's son. So when Maximus kills the emperor in the first movie, and then he dies because I think he was poisoned, if I remember correctly. So he dies. Well, then there's going to be a power struggle over the throne of who's going to be the emperor, right? And technically speaking, it should have been Lucius, because Lucius was Lucilla's son. Lucilla was the sister of the emperor, and the daughter of the previous emperor. Not to mention the fact that if Maximus is not the father of Lucius, her husband was the co-emperor of her father, right? So the co-emperor is the father of the son, and he had passed away though before Gladiator, right? And then the grandfather is the other emperor. So his son, his direct son, becomes the emperor after he assassinates his dad, right? So technically speaking, the next emperor probably should have been Lucius. So because of that, and she knew there was going to be, a fight over that, and he was in danger, she sent him away, which is weird, but that's what happens, right? And so he gets sent off into the desert and ends up having to go, create his own life in, in northern Africa. He gets a wife. He has a home. He loves his people, his new people, and that's his life, right? Well, then Rome comes and invades his home city, and his wife is killed during that. It's early on in the movie, so I mean technically that's a spoiler, but it happens very early on in the movie. It's a big plot point of the whole movie. Um, so she's killed during that. He's taken captive, becomes a slave, then becomes a gladiator, and then ends up in Rome in the Colosseum, and that's where the movie picks up basically the same exact movie that you saw in the first one, where he basically is becoming famous as a gladiator. His mom is trying to protect him. They're trying to overthrow the emperor. All sorts of cool things happen. Very good movie, but again, not very original. I enjoyed it. I would say watch it, especially if you do want to watch it, you should watch it in the theater. It was great in the theater. Streaming would be okay, but it's not as it's not as big and bold if you're watching it as streaming as getting the chance to see it in the theater. And there's some great battle scenes, some great scenes in the Colosseum. You definitely want to see that in the theater if that's your thing. And yeah, so I'd recommend seeing it. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.